You know, inside your own body right now, there are about 37 trillion living cells, and not a single one of them has any idea that you exist. So let's flip that around. What if our entire universe is just one cell inside something else, something unimaginably larger? In this explainer, we're going to dig into the real scientific evidence that takes this from a wild sci-fi idea and turns it into a totally legitimate question. Okay, let's just dive right in with a stunning comparison. Look at this. On one side, you've got the complex, branching network of neurons in a human brain, and on the other, you've got the cosmic web, the largest known structure where whole galaxies are linked by massive filaments of dark matter. The visual echo is just uncanny, right? But believe it or not, this goes way deeper than just looking similar. So in 2020, scientists decided to actually put a number on this. They ran a full-on analysis of the structure of both networks, how they clump together, how many links each point has, and they came up with a similarity score of 0.87. Now, to give you some perspective, a perfect 1.0 would mean they are literally identical. Getting a number this high isn't just a coincidence, it's statistically significant. It suggests there might be some kind of fundamental, shared blueprint for how complex networks form.
And that quote really gets to the heart of it. This is exactly why we're doing this explainer. This has moved out of the realm of philosophy. So let's actually walk through the evidence that has some of the most serious physicists on the planet taking this question very, very seriously.
Okay, our first big clue lies in what we could call a universal blueprint, a pattern that just keeps repeating itself, from the unbelievably tiny to the incomprehensibly huge. Let's be honest, our brains just aren't wired to really get a handle on cosmic or quantum scales. So let's take a quick trip to get our bearings. We'll start with you, then zoom into your hand, then down to a single skin cell, and finally, all the way down to just one of the atoms that makes up that cell. And it's right here, at the atomic level, that we find our first really deep parallel. Because what is that atom really made of? Well, it turns out it's almost completely empty space. I mean, if you blew an atom up to the size of a football stadium, the nucleus, the actual stuff, would be nothing more than a tiny marble sitting in the middle. And guess what? The universe is built on the exact same principle. It's about 99.9999999% empty void. This same pattern, vast emptiness with these tiny dense nodes of matter, holds true at the smallest and largest scales we can possibly measure.
And this pattern of similarity even extends to boundaries. A biological cell, for instance, has a membrane. It's not just a wall, it's an active, intelligent border that decides what gets in and what stays out. Well, our universe has a boundary too. We call it the cosmic horizon. It's the absolute edge of everything we can see, and for us, it might as well be a membrane. It defines the inside we know from a completely mysterious outside that we can't access.
All right, our second clue is a big one. It comes from one of the most profound, unsolved mysteries in all of physics, a mysterious energy source that we can't see, can't explain, but we know is there. Yeah, we're talking about dark energy. It's this unknown force that's not just expanding the universe, it's making that expansion speed up. We can measure its effects with incredible precision, but here's the massive problem. We have absolutely no idea what it is or where it's coming from. It doesn't seem to be produced by anything inside our known universe. So what if we're just looking at the problem all wrong? Let's go back to our cell analogy for a second. A cell doesn't just create its own energy out of thin air, right? It has to absorb energy and nutrients from its environment to power itself. So what if the universe is doing the exact same thing? And this leads to a really radical idea. What if dark energy is just the background metabolic energy of a much, much larger cosmic system, and our universe is simply absorbing it to power its own expansion? Now look, it's a huge speculative leap, for sure, but it's a hypothesis that offers a potential explanation for where dark energy comes from that doesn't actually break any of our current observations. Okay, the next clue is a fact that has genuinely kept physicists up at night for decades, and that's the almost unbelievable razor's edge precision of our universe's fundamental settings. Think about the fundamental forces of nature, things like gravity or the force that holds atoms together. They are all tuned to these incredibly specific values. If you tweaked gravity by just a tiny, tiny fraction, the universe would have either collapsed back on itself instantly, or it would have flown apart so fast that no stars or galaxies could ever form. Either way, we wouldn't be here talking about it. So physicists basically have three main explanations for this fine-tuning. One, we just got absurdly, ridiculously lucky. Two,
There are an infinite number of other universes out there with different rules, and we just happen to live in one of the ones that works. Or 3, the constants were somehow set or designed. The problem with all of these, none of them are testable, which leaves this giant mystery wide open. And just to give you a sense of the kind of precision we are talking about, this is the estimated accuracy of just one of those numbers, the cosmological constant. That is a 1 followed by 120 zeros. There are fewer atoms in the entire known universe than that. It's a level of calibration that just boggles the mind. But let's look at our cell analogy again, because it offers a really compelling alternative. Think about it. A cell's internal chemistry, its pH, its temperature, its salt levels, is also precisely calibrated. But it's not by luck, is it? No, it's because it's being actively regulated by the larger organism it's a part of. So what if our physical constants aren't lucky? What if they're just the regulated internal chemistry of a much larger cosmic system? So we've got the structural clues, the energy clues, the chemistry clues, but is there any plausible mechanism for how a universe could actually live, or, dare I say it, even reproduce? Well, one absolutely fascinating theory comes from physicist Lee Smolin, and it's called Cosmological Natural Selection. Let's just walk through it. Step 1, a black hole forms inside a parent universe. Step 2, that singularity at the heart of the black hole triggers the creation of a brand new baby universe. Step 3, this new universe inherits the physical constants from its parent, but with tiny little mutations. And here's the crucial part, Step 4. Universes whose settings make them better at producing black holes will naturally have more offspring. They literally evolve over time. So what happens over cosmic eons? You get natural selection for universes that are really, really good at making black holes. And what does a universe like that look like? Well, it needs to have stable galaxies, long-lived stars, and all the heavy elements needed for them to form. In other words, exactly the conditions needed for complex life. From this point of view, our life-friendly universe isn't some incredible fluke. It's a predictable outcome of cosmic evolution. Okay, let's bring all this back down to you. 37 trillion. That's a rough estimate of how many individual, living, non-aware cells are all working together right now to create the single, conscious being that is you. And this right here illustrates one of the most profound principles we know of. Consciousness emerges from complexity. None of your individual cells has any concept of love or art or the stars. But together, collectively, they give rise to a mind that can contemplate all of it. You are a walking, talking example of a system becoming so much more than the sum of its parts. And this is where we take the final leap. If consciousness can emerge from trillions of non-conscious cells to create you, then couldn't a higher level of awareness emerge from a collection of universes to create something else entirely? You know, maybe this whole exercise, this very act of questioning, of us looking out into the cosmos and asking, what am I? What is all this? Maybe it's not just us asking. Maybe it's a profound emergent property of the cosmos itself. Maybe we are the universe becoming self-aware. So is our universe just a cell? When you look at the evidence, the similar structures, the mysterious energy, the fine-tuned chemistry, and even a plausible mechanism for reproduction, it becomes a question that's really worth asking. There's no easy way to just dismiss it. The data forces us to consider that we might be part of something unimaginably larger. So the final question isn't just, what is it part of? But what does it mean that we are the part that has learned how to ask?